And of course, with analysts in the studio and guests and you, the listener, we look at these issues from every angle and try to give meanings to them when they seem meaningless to us. But of course, I'll tell you, for every meaningless thing that comes before you, pick out the first part of it, which is the meaning, and take it, and you can forget about the less. My name is Ehis Adon. Excuse me. And today on the program, we shall be looking at the ministerial list where we have 45 persons cleared with El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, and two others having their clearance delayed. And we'll be looking at all the intrigues and why it is what it is, and of course, if there are ways out of it. And of course, my guest on the program today, I have three gentlemen in the studio with me. The first one is a constant. He used to be a constant decimal. He is a runaway soldier. He went on AWOL and he is fully back now. He's the one and only controversial one that has ever been on Ground Zero in the person of Mike Ode Akatu, the controversial Mike. Yeah. Mike, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you, brother. He's and I ever really remain controversial one. It's what makes the world go round.
All right. I also have with me in the studio a gentleman that some would want to refer to as gentle giant, but of course, when you come across him, his looks only looks gentle, but what comes out of his mouth is just the truth, and most often than not, the truth is usually not gentle. I'm talking about the one and only Danjuma Abbas Dangwa. He's a good governance advocate, and he's with us on the program this evening. Danjuma, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
All right, and the third one, well, for those meeting him for the first time, they'll call him the shy guy. But he's not really shy. Well, he's also gentle, he's cool, calm, collected, but most importantly, calculated. He is a governance and accountability expert in the person of Yusuf Goje. Yusuf Goje, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure being here.
All right. And to be part of the program, you can go to our various social media handles and get the best and add your comment to the post we have in respect of the program. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube where we are streaming live. Go join us now so you can watch what we are doing right here on Procyon TV and be part of it. And the handle is Procyon RTV. Procyon RTV. Procyon is spelled Procyon RTV. Of course, you can see it on the screen if you're watching us. That's just the handle. You can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Thread, and LinkedIn. You can also listen to us by downloading the Procyon Radio and Television app. The Procyon Radio and Television app, you can get it on Google Play Store. Download it and be part of the Procyon experience. As with the app, you'll be able to listen to us, you'll be able to watch us, and you'll be able to read us. All right, for the benefit of those watching us from other parts of the world and listening to us, we are having a little technical issue uplinking to, okay, thankfully we are back now. All right, like I said, you can join, you can download the Procyon app on Google Play Store. It's Procyon Radio and Television. With it, you'll be able to listen to us, watch us, and read us, and go wherever you're going to with us. Of course, the website is www.procyonnews.com. Okay, let's go straight into giving some more background in respect of the program today. The Senate has completed the screening of 45 of President Bola Tinubu's 48 nomination for ministerial positions. The Senate confirmed 45 of the nominees as cabinet members during a session yesterday in Abuja. three of the nominees, former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Stella Okotete from Delta State, and Abubakar Danladi from Taraba State are still undergoing security clearance. That's what they told us. But of course, there are other undertones and other things that may be responsible for this, taking into consideration I would say the act that almost played out yesterday during the screening of Festus Keyamo, Barrister Festus Keyamo. There was almost a little drama, but eventually he came down from his high horse and apologized to the distinguished members of the Senate in respect of comments from him some time past that the Senate was used as a reason for not wanting to clear him fully. But thankfully, we thank God, they eventually cleared him, and he has been part of the experience. All right. So, still on the program, Ground Zero. That, I would say, is a summary of what happened. Now, looking at some of the undertones, because we know that in Nigeria, so many things can happen. And when all of these things happen, people would read meanings into it. And when they read their meanings into it, it comes in different shades. Yeah. Talking about the screening that has been on since the president submitted the name to the Senate and all that has happened between then and now. Initially, people thought that Wike was going to be the one that may be having some difficulties being cleared, but he had a history on his part. He's been a member of the House of Rep before at the state level, right?
We have chairman, then he became chief of staff, the minister.
Okay. Yes, he has gone through the experience in the past. He has been cleared by the Senate as a minister in the past. He rode on that and got a very soft landing, and he was quickly cleared. And after Wike, there were other things that happened too. Apart from the Wike issue, the other one that came up was what's her name? The lady from Kano State now, Mariam Shetty, who I would say was withdrawn just at the last minute when she was already within the premises of the National Assembly. She was withdrawn, and other replacements came in. Keyamo, of course, had his own running battle yesterday, and at some point people said he ran to the villa when they took a recess to plead. Eventually came back, apologized, and he was cleared. Now, when everybody was believing that all is all right and okay and the stage is set, was at the point that the Senate now came out with a list of the 45 persons that were cleared and the 3 that were stepped down for now pending security clearance. When we are talking about clearance, we are not supposed to have been cleared before their names were submitted to the Senate. That's one big question that we'll be looking at answering. And apart from that, what could be the actual reasons behind the stepping down of these names? I know that Danladi was former deputy governor in Taraba State. Had a court case, and he was banned
political
activities for
years.
Which has not elapsed, and he's there. Well, let's start from Michael Odiaka too. Looking at all of this randomly.
Well, there may be undertones, and they are so glaring, especially in the case of El-Rufai. El-Rufai would have gotten the first scam treatment, but left for the Senate president, who quickly silenced the opposition and asked that the case be referred to. If you recall, somebody actually came up and said he has a written petition against El-Rufai, and it's not even from Kaduna State. That is it. I'm sure it's from Kogi State. And he said it borders on national security issues and a lot of things like that. And I'm not really surprised about that. Now, when you talk about undertones, some few days before he left office, 2 days before he left office, here in Kaduna, he ordered the El-Rufai as a governor, ordered his bulldozers to a settlement called Badi Villa, and a number of people were killed. And it's still fresh on the minds of Nigerians. And a day or so, 48 hours before his own election, before the governorship election, his convoy gunned down some men in Rigasa. They were supposedly Shiite or something. They were heckling him. And, he has this running battle with the southern Kaduna area of his state. It's like there's this disconnect. There's no love lost between him and the people of southern Kaduna, and there has been a lot of killings. And fingers, whether unfounded or not founded, fingers have been pointed at him that, look, you did nothing, or it's like you sat down, you wallowed in these killings, you gloat over it, and a lot of this. And sometimes his utterances tends to be a very much divisive, ethnically, religiously, and otherwise. El-Rufai is a man that can talk out of point, irrespective of how dangerous the situation is. And such person is a tinderbox. Such person, given his pedigree also, if you look at it again, all the government he has served, all the presidents he has served, none of them has escaped his scorching tongue. At the tail end, he will always come down hard on him. And so, this kind of a man, he must have he's an excess luggage, an excess baggage. If you are carrying him along, you are carrying a bag of trouble. So in the first place, though I wasn't surprised that he made the list of the minister because of his role, how vital he was. But of course, the president should also know that he is also carrying fire in his bosom. He is a double-edged sword. And there are, like you said, there are reports, that are bothering on security issues, whether unfounded or not. So this is enough. These are good enough reasons to have stepped him down. But I wouldn't be surprised if he runs back to Aso Rock and the president looking for, to compensate him. They will still appoint him, they will still re-invite him, or they will give him another post. But the fact is, cutting somebody like El-Rufai is like playing with a viper in your bedroom. And that should be the reason why he was being stepped down. So, and again, I think I like what the National Assembly is doing this time around. They are really, though they are not doing it the way we want, but they are really looking at the people who are going to be there, the ministers. If you recall again, this same El-Rufai had a run-in with the National Assembly during Obasanjo's era when he accused them of bribe taking or demanding for bribe from him. And the National Assembly never forgets.
Yeah.
That is what happened to Kiamu.
Yeah.
You understand? So,
you concentrated on El-Rufai and all that you feel that he has done that warranted the kind of this thing that's getting from the
public and the committee screening the National Assembly.
But ab initio, Akpabio gave him a soft landing.
Yes.
And did not allow for them to really grill him. Well, maybe he was still riding on the fact that he's been a minister before and must have been cleared before. Though so many things must have happened between then and now. Let's leave that for now and move on to other aspects too. Looking at this screening, I'll start from Danjuma now. Looking at the whole screening process, right from nomination of the persons, submission of the list, and all that has happened in the Senate all this while. One, do you think the Senate is doing what is expected of them when it comes to screening of ministerial nominees? And how would you rate the screening so far and the result that came out that we've seen so far? Danjuma.
Well, I am not one that is so particularly excited about the screening exercise thus far. It's it's not quite clear why we're talking about security clearance at a time like this. Ordinarily, security clearance must have been secured before the names were generated and presented to the National Assembly. And notwithstanding, the National Assembly also should have also, at the moment they were receiving these names, had also looked for those security reports concerning these individuals and brought to the table. Um, and then you also look at the fact that some of these people are persons with public sector records, as the case may be. That said, the assembly has not really, been able to show really as to how this process, happened, because you have now gone through to the point of telling people to take a bow and step away, and then later you come to say that they have not been cleared. You also look at the kind of the fact that this is the assembly that is going to have an oversight function over this executive, with people coming, vying for these positions that are going to end up becoming ministers, heading ministries, departments, agencies of government. What really are their competency skills, even with the fact that there are no portfolios, attached to these names yet? What really are the level of competencies? How well are you probing deep to know if these people know the issues? We've seen ministers come humbly to the assembly, present themselves looking so pious and very, tolerant and what have you. The moment they have gone past this confirmation process, they begin to become lords unto themselves. Some of them we're not seeing the assembly, for instance, bringing to account persons who may have violated court orders. Because the moment you are a minister that have served as minister, you have violated court orders, it means that you are also not somebody who is likely, upholding the ethos of democracy. Because what is democracy? I mean, outside the rule of law. So, as ministers, nominees, ministerial nominees now, we're not seeing the assembly going deep enough to dig into some of these issues. Now, when you even look at the issue around the El-Rufai, like Mike has highlighted, one key issue is that the same assembly, the same Senate, even though a different assembly, have met as a committee, investigated this man sometime in 2008, came up with a verdict concerning his conduct in public office, and declared that he is not fit to hold public office. How far have they gone, around that report? And you can see that from 2008 till this moment, it's such a long time. That's over
12 years.
over 12 years already, and there is no prosecution. There is also no concrete investigations that have followed suit around, what it seems to be. Now, come to this ministerial nominee from Kwara, Latif Fagbemi. Latif Fagbemi is mentioned as one of the councillors for the, I think, the APC legal team defending the elections, the victory of the APC at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Now, the question is, for someone who is already an interested person or party, even in the ongoing election tribunal case that's going on today, how well are we sure that his emergence as a minister of the Federal Republic does not compromise the institution of the judiciary? Bearing in mind that we have very vacant, there have been declarations in time past that there are vacant seats at the Supreme Court. We do not know how many more there are perhaps at the Court of Appeal, for instance, which justices want to be elevated to what particularly. And so what kind of message does this send now ahead of the fact that judgment has not been passed, and that somebody who had presented cases to the same judges is about to be made minister? Will he be able to cut those kind of deals that are happening at night in the cloak of darkness, to ensure that whatever he is promising judges today who are being persuaded perhaps to look in the interest of the incumbent government or administration, will it really be a deal that he can be considered to, execute in such a way that these people can actually, look away from truth and from any particular evidence before them and serve in the interest of the incumbent.
All of these are just assumptions.
These are assumptions. These are assumptions. But certainly, we needed to see the Senate looking at all of these feelers in terms of evaluating these individuals. For me, I will say that the institution of the Senate, the National Assembly as we have it, is in the event of every military junta, we have always seen that there has always been an executive, there has always been a judiciary, but there has not always been the People's Assembly. And so if the People's Assembly itself is not going to make stringent rules and regulations that ensures that we have square pegs, in square holes at all times, then we are going to have a situation where the people with wits, the people with craft, the people with skill and dexterity can manipulate the system at all times to find their way. I'm particularly pleased to see that the president can nominate and the people, can endorse whether to accept such nomination. And I would have really loved to see that it will have, something that has been done in such a way that even competencies of individuals and their past records on even small endeavors would have been evaluated to say, yes, indeed, you can deliver the needed results that meet the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people in this particular dispensation.
All right. Having had that and seen the angle that you came from, I'll now come to Yusuf Goje and dwelling on what these persons have done in the past, talking about these three persons now, and also looking at some of the reasons. So the main reason that the Senate gave was the fact that they are awaiting security clearance from the NSA and the DSS, which I presume was what was done all this while before the list was submitted to the Senate, because we heard that the president had submitted the list to the DSS, to the National Security Advisor's Office for clearance. Where this clearance is not done, and why now? That's why many Nigerians believe that it goes beyond just the issue of clearance. Looking at Danladi, is it that our Senate or we do not keep records? The case where Danladi, because the case went all the way even up to the Supreme Court, and what the High Court, the judgment of the High Court was affirmed all through to the Supreme Court, barring him for 10 years from taking any of those offices. Now, did the Senate even have shouldn't they have told him ab initio immediately he came that all of these, that he couldn't be cleared based on ABCD? Don't they have a research department? Don't they keep records? Don't they have aides that does all of this for them? And if they do and still they went ahead, what does this say of our Senate and the ministerial clearance that just happened? Yusuf.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Mr. Hayes. I think the problem is both a systemic problem and also an issue of attitude as regards the Nigerian person, because as in terms of systemic, that is why for you to be nominated as a minister, you should first have been vetted by security agencies. That is, they look at all your records, including all your past activities, utterances, your documentation, and every other thing that they need to know about you, so that they know that in line with the 1999 Constitution, that you do not breach any provision of the Constitution. And secondly, is that you're supposed to also declare your assets. So all of these are supposed to have been done before even the list is sent to the National Assembly, and attached to your name should be this clearance that yes, you've been vetted and you've not been found with any issue that would either make you ineligible to hold that position, or as some would have said, you are a national security threat, or you could pose a national security threat. Then the other part, which is attitudinal, is that it just tells you that this is how low our political elites think of us as citizens. They insult our intelligence to the extent that they think they can just do anything and Nigerians will continue to take it. Because at the end of the day, what is playing out in the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, is just political drama. Various interests trying to outdo and outpower every other camp. And this is quite unfortunate because the issues before us as a country are far beyond their political individual interest. So I won't put the blame on the table of the National Assembly alone. The executive arm should have done its due diligence. So the question now would be to our security agencies. Did they actually discover these issues? The one way or the other, they covered them up. Because one lie we would not believe is that our security agencies, particularly the intelligence agencies, are not equipped enough to have this information, that it is ordinary citizens that will come and write petition of information that should be naturally be in the available to them. So I think it just shows us that our political interests, allies, are not really after Nigeria. They are after their personal political interests. Because even from the beginning, what they are doing in the National Assembly is largely entertainment. They are just using taxpayers' money to put live entertainment on TV. And I have my reasons. Number one, the executive should have sent the ministerial list with portfolios. Okay, he's in your previous places that you have worked.
Yeah.
During interview, do they go and ask you questions outside what you applied for?
No.
They should have seen that your qualification and your level of knowledge, experience, and exposure is in alignment with the portfolio. But there are no portfolios. So you come, you put people on the podium, and you ask generic questions. So how would we know that these people are equipped enough to, in terms of knowledge, in terms of intelligence, and in terms of character, to handle the particular responsibility that is going to be pushed before them? So that, for me, is an issue in itself, because until we are able to grill each ministerial nominee based on a particular portfolio to test his capacity, capability, and ability to deliver, then we are just doing more of jamboree. As regards those issues that are coming up, of the three persons that have been nominated, it is politics. There is no justification other than it is politics. If you look at the individual petitions that have been written, yes, it has no court has, except for I think one, no court has really indicted any of them. I know that of former Governor El-Rufai, just as a result of his actions and his pronouncements when he was governor and even beyond then. Because if it was a corruption case that was raised in the petition, then we would have said yes. In the past, he has certain cases, but the issue that was said in the petition was around is a national security threat and a threat to unity of Nigeria. So if it is on that basis, I don't think any court has done that to say it. So, but all of these things are things that should have naturally been cleared away. This screening should have focused on individuals that don't have any baggage, both professionally and both in terms of character. And only what will be testing them is, okay, this is your portfolio. Do you understand what the issues are? Do you understand how the political economy of that particular sector work? What solutions are you bringing on board that will be different? So yes, there might be merit in the issues. When it comes to national security, yes, there are merits. The caliber of people that the president brings into office as ministers should be people that are unifying the country. You would look at the legacy of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, and unfortunately, I'm not saying there are no good sides. One of the things that he left behind was a divided country. So people that the president would delegate his powers to serve as ministers should be people that would be seen to unite the country. So I'm now saying that, yes, if there are issues around national security and the unity of this country, I think it should be checked. But all of this unnecessary drama that is wasting valuable time that should be invested in governance should have been cleared before now during the security vetting. Not when Nigerians are expecting to see who will pilot the critical sectors that will remove the 133 million multidimensional people out of poverty. That will remove Nigeria maybe out of the first three most in terms of the global terrorism index. That will reduce our about 40% unemployment rates. What we are facing before us with the high cost of living as a result of unbearable inflation, these are ticking time bombs to social unrest. So any serious government should understand that perception is reality. Who you put as your minister will be how people will receive the reception your policies and programs will be received. So all of these things should have been, even from the side of the president, from the side of the security agencies and other, the Code of Conduct Bureau should have cleared any of these controversies, attached the report that they sent to the president to the National Assembly. If somebody is not fit, they would have said, we won't even screen you from the beginning. So you send it back to the president and say, based on this security report, we can't go ahead with this process. But you treat us to a talk show and all of that. Because it is not whether you have been a minister before or a legislator before. The challenges that confront Nigeria don't care about your past records. It's not about bow and go. Can you handle the responsibility before us? Do you have the requisite qualification? Do you have the character? Do you have the temperament? Because Nigerians are angry, frustrated, and are looking for any trigger.
Many Nigerians.
Yes, many Nigerians. Those that are not yet angry is either things are working well for you, or you are at that level that you still have hope. But those ones that are still waiting for their hope to be renewed, they are frustrated because people are hungry. There are people that go 3-4 days without eating. So the conversations we should be having now is not that 3 ministers did not pass, and what are the reasons? There are reasons that should have been proactively addressed before now. What we should be seeing is that, yes, this is our poverty rate, this is unemployment rate, this is insecurity situation, this is infrastructure deficit. What ideas are you going to bring on board? Where are you going to get, how would Nigeria get the money to address these things? We are now in a situation where subsidy distribution is an issue. Government is yet, yes, they have said what they want to do, but drawing out the modalities of how to carry it out remains a hanging fruit. We are yet to bring down that fruit for Nigerians to benefit. And we are here looking at the politics of the political elites who are trying to position themselves. Well, at the end of the day, we should understand that politicians will always play politics.
Yeah.
And this is what we are seeing. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Yusuf Goje and the team. You guys have looked at it from all angles. We'll still come back to you, but meanwhile, let's take some calls and listen to our listeners and viewers too, to get their angles to this. Then we'll react to whatever they are going to, whatever we are going to get from them. 0809-799-1989 is the number to dial. You can also call 0809-464-6206. That's 0809-799-1989 and 0809-464-6206, or go to our various social media handles at Procyon RTV. Let's take our first caller this evening. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Isabel. You're doing a great job.
Good evening, my brother. All right, Awusko from Nasarawa, you are welcome.
Thank you. You see, the SS and the NSC have abdicated their responsibility in some instance. They should have screened thoroughly the candidates they are presented to them as ministerial nominees. This is very, very sad. And also, you see, democracy in Africa has failed in most African countries because of the generation of duties various agencies. That's why the principles of democracy are not put down to the ordinary people of Africa. And that's why the military has now become a potent opposition to that democracy. Our security agencies must wake up and very much people creating national unity.
I'm really not hearing you clearly. Maybe you need to call us back. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening. You're welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is El-Rufai. I'm calling from Kano.
All right, Otumba, let's have your take.
You see, my take on this people is just a negligence of our institutions are not working. I think that the institutions are working. Either I am there or I'm not. As long as the institutions are working, I mean, that's when all these issues should have been taken care of at the initial stage. Where are we now saying we have is that a failure of failure on our security agency? The National Security Advisor is there. The DSS are there. Then what is their purpose? What is the purpose of them when they say they are screening these people? In case of all the three people that are supposed to be doing maybe they are on a security something. So that's just the negligence of our so-called politicians that are making they want to take Nigeria for a ride.
All right.
And I think both the journalists, everyone of us, has to be proactive. The same journalists are the people that will be praising these people when they are in offices. And at the same time, you have forgotten that they have one lapses or the other. And please, I don't know why we are saying we are subsidizing fuel subsidy, we are removing it, and we are having from 8 ministers. For God's sake, how we are saying we should cut down the cost. I don't see why we should have that for today. That's to tell us that yes, we really mean this. I don't think we will get it right.
Thank you so very much, Tumba Rufai. Let's take another call. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Ayin.
Good evening, you're welcome.
Thank you. Ibrahim calling from Kabbalah,
all right, Ibrahim.
Mr. Ayin, this topic is quite interesting, and I'm very delighted to be part of this program.
All right.
In fact, if I may ask a question, is it a crime for Nigeria to practice a democracy?
It is not a crime.
And is it a crime that our leaders always come up and down as a football? Look, people have come from Nigeria, African Africa, and indeed Africa, to design our own pattern of democracy.
Okay.
Because the democracy that the Western was giving to us are not working. It has become a failure, Now, we have a problem at hand, and now you are not telling people to go to another extent to bring them what they are saying. No, so all this matter is not going to work for them. When they can manage the federal government, the president that comes from the first time when you come, it's not the way we are expecting again.
Okay.
Now, it's not what we expect again. Now, we're going, the enthusiasm, the zeal, the joy that Nigeria has become what? Because why? Because it. Now you say they're going to go for that thing. In fact, there is hunger of God. There is hunger of God. These are things that they need to address before any other thing. But the way our people are doing is not the best for us. We are hungry. That is why you are hearing noise here and there. Everybody is complaining. I've never in my life complained to come out in this way. But the way it's going now, no. People suffer. Their phone is totally upside down. Why are we not? We have many problems at hand. Please let them address all these things fully and the Senate as well. Let them take the Senate. We have to have what we need to get what they call cost, not to increase again because all these things bounce back to the lower people, especially which I want to part of them. So, in a nutshell, we should prepare ourselves. One day we get to that, but Nigeria has Africa has a union. Let us keep them our own democracy so that we trust and leave this Western world their own way of democracy. I'm not happy back.
Thank you so very much, Ibrahim from Kabbalah. Let's take our last caller this evening.
And get at the studio.
Yes, good evening. You are our last caller. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Comrade Gabriel, the Texan from Kaduna.
All right, Comrade Gabriel. Quickly, let's have your take.
Sir, your president Yusuf Gogi has already said the whole thing. All this is politics. The way I look at the whole issue is that these people are going to be plain. They are going to be, maybe the reaction of we, the public, that's fine. They shifted their screening to the security. As far as we know it, in the first place, just as you are saying, why should we even just submit a name? If it is true that they have something behind them, it's just very unfortunate. And what the objective even say that this we're supposed to understand as the military, just why are you going to revive this economy? As I'm speaking to you like this, we have 170 Tesla companies that closed. Out of them, only 10 are working. Who is going to come and say, let me make sure that this issue is they revive them? And if you even look at the question of oil subsidy, for example, refineries are not working. And we are still saying that we have subsidy sorting. The same thing is going, if not because of this labor strike that they say they are going to revive whatever refinery, and this refinery would have been open since January this year, but it's still on hold. So what we are saying that we pay these ministers and the Tinubu should make sure the focus, because I know the Minister of Labor is getting the Prime Minister of Labor. When the doctor was trying to say they can go, and that time Saudi Arabia came and recruited about 750 doctors. So is that how we are going to continue? Let them take Nigeria at heart.
All right.
We know whether we make mistake in voting or not make mistake, but all we are saying is let this government make sure focus on how to direct employment for Nigeria because we are hungry.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Comrade Gabriel. Let's come back to the studio now and quickly, if possible, in 1.5 minutes, that's 90 seconds, let each person react to the calls and give us their parting shot. I start from Michael De Akatu.
I will react to two callers.
But do it within 90 seconds.
I was the first caller. His own take is that Nigerians are tired of civilian rule. The fact is there is no alternative to democracy.
At all.
It is the military that actually placed us in this quandary. So we have no option than to continue with democracy. Also, there are good sides of this democracy. 2015, a government, a president, and a party was voted out. 2019, the same thing, similar thing nearly happened. 2023, we saw an OB coming up, making inroads. So we are going to hope, we are going to pray, and we are going to press and push for good governance, and it surely is going to come. What you are seeing is just the last kick of dying horses. Democracy, true Democrats, and Nigerians will smile again. That's my shot.
All right, Yusuf Goje.
Okay, just in line with what he's saying, we don't have an alternative to democracy if truly we are practicing democracy. And in Nigeria, I don't think in practice we are actually practicing democracy. It is still a government of the elites for the elites and by the elites. Based on reality, we have a president that became president with just 8 million votes out of about
200 or something
million
Nigerians.
90 something.
90 eligible voters, yes.
So, and when it comes to decision making and governance, it's the same. So it shows you that really, because democracy is about people's participation. So when people don't participate in actively selecting their leaders, and the true expression of their sovereignty is reflected by INEC, and when people don't participate in determining how their resources will be utilized. And at the end of the day, public services do not adequately benefit people, then the caller is right to question whether indeed we are actually practicing democracy or we should look at alternative. But just to conclude by saying that we really need democracy, but we need true democracy that would not allow our allies to be playing with our intelligence when people are dying of hunger, when people can't afford basic amenities of life, and they are there busy playing the politics of power instead of playing the politics of development.
All right, Danjuma Abbas Zangwa.
In the light of the words of the president during his inaugural speech, he said he will govern Nigeria, not rule over Nigeria, and he will be a leader that governs Nigeria for the common good of all. I must say that currently the ministerial list that we are seeing does not reflect that. We see the Southeast as a geopolitical zone having only 5 ministers. Earlier, we used to know that after the number of ministers that goes across states, there is always a one minister from every geopolitical zone. To what extent have you robbed the Southeast of that portfolio? We are now also seeing even the Southwest not really reflecting that the president is from the Southwest. Ogun is having 2 ministers, Lagos is having 2 ministers. We're seeing how many ministers from Ondo are even Osun. This is actually a very counterproductive measure. Already, the Southwest is having the presidency. As much as possible, we are not also seeing a lean government. Currently, the Festus Keyamo issue shows now that we are also still not departed from this point of strong individuals over strong institutions. And that in itself does not define the kind of democracy that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had always promoted and represented.
Thank you so much. Before we wrap up the program, I'd like to go check out our social media handles. First of all, thank all those that are watching us via YouTube, and I appreciate you all. Would like you to, yes, we appreciate the likes, we appreciate the shares, but also do add your voice to the conversation, drop your comments. And from YouTube, we'll move on to Facebook, where we want to appreciate Shraibu Mejawa and Emmanuel De Don. We also appreciate you. All right. Philip Safety Ambassador. All right. Thank you so much. Alex Jamboyani and Oni Biyoshegun MG. We also appreciate you all. Abraham Kamara. Thank you so very much. And Olusayo Kofa Kelvin. We appreciate you all for being part of the program today, and hoping that next time when the program is on, you'll drop your comments and be part of the conversation that we're having here in the studio. And to do that, just go to our various social media handles. The handle is Procyon RTV. For those watching us, Procyon, you will see it displayed on the screen. The station icon is right there. Procyon RTV. That's the handle. Just go to any of the popular social media handles, all the way from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Thread. Get us there, follow us, like us, subscribe, and of course, do remember to share too. And to our other listeners, those that called in, we sincerely appreciate you. In the studio, Olufolorunsho came in a little bit late. You would have been part of the panel. Sorry for saying that you came in late. You are our senior. You are the one that should have come in first. All right. To the production team, I say a very big thank you to Nifemi Onibi, you're uplinking us over there at Invicta. To Wisdom Agulana handling the technical and ICT over there at Invicta. And to the management and staff of Invicta FM, I sincerely appreciate you. And in studio, Michael Ode Akatu, the controversial one. Welcome back, and thank you so much for having time to be on the program.
Controversial will I remain.
All right. And to the shy, cool, calm, collected Yusuf Goje, thank you so very much for having time to be on Ground Zero.
Thank you very much. I don't know about the shy part.
And to the gentle giant, Dangwa Abbas Danjuma, I appreciate you also for having time to be on the program.
It's always a pleasure, sir. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you so much.
And from here, the Social Media Center, I say a very big thank you to Michael Boniface today. Mike, the one that's called Michael Praise on social media. I appreciate you all. Not forgetting Efose Admon, and of course to great Samson Atama. And for the VTR, the one mixing up all of what you're saying on the various screen. That's Hisse Admon. Thank you so very much. And the production producer and manager is Sarah Admon. Thank you so very much for having time to be on Ground Zero. I am Ehis Admon. Let's see next week. Let's say this week, Friday, for another time out on the program. Between now and then, make sure that you plant the tree today, water it, and watch it grow. But most importantly, keep shining like the star that you are.